Hey Brandon, is this as exciting for the organization as it is for the fan base?
Yeah, it's a big day, obviously, since we've been watching Show from afar, and now that he's been here, it's been such an amazing thing that he can do both, and knowing what he's gone through up to this point, rehabbing and worked so hard for us to be able to finally see him take the mound here is incredibly exciting.
What should be the expectations for everybody tonight? What to expect from him tonight?
I mean, he's looked really good in the lives, and throwing the ball well, feeling good. So, like he always does, he's going to give everything he has, and we expect a high quality outing like we normally would out of him.
At what point in the last couple of weeks did getting him back at this point, like this week, start to feel real for you guys when you're talking about his plan with him?
With each bullpen, each live, it was kind of a free-flowing conversation in between to make sure that he was feeling good, bouncing back, and because this is such a unique scenario, making sure we're not doing anything to put the offensive side in jeopardy. So, it was only really up until this week or so having the conversations that it was, okay, this is a real possibility.
Obviously, you guys spend a lot of time with the front end, sort of giving him time. But are you surprised still that it took 22 days between obviously facing hitters the first time to be pitching in a big league game back to from that point?
I mean, like you said, it was the conversations of how he's feeling, and then his stuff was coming out great in bullpens, and then the lives very encouraging as well. And got to the point where, hey, it feels like we should take that next step and almost look to finish the rehab at the major league level because of the taxing nature of what he was doing.
As far as his participation tonight, is he on a pitch count?
I mean, he's going to go out and pitch, and when we feel like he's good to come out, Doc will take him out.
Dave mentioned that he had kind of sensed that Shohei was getting a little antsy himself to get back to pitching. How much did he kind of drive some of this with what he was saying he was feeling and what he kind of felt would be best for him?
Yeah, that communication was great throughout the process, and so much of it is the getting hot, throwing alive at 1:30, 2 o'clock, cooling down, coming back, getting ready to lead off the game. I can't even imagine how taxing that is. And there is no playbook for this, so it has to be a ongoing conversation and making sure that Shohei is the one driving this conversation.
Brandon, where is Shohei from an endurance standpoint, and how close are you guys going to be watching that, especially as he starts to build volume?
Yeah, so much of it is the back and forth and how he's feeling, and making sure that at every step we've done along the way is just erring on the side of caution, because we don't know how he's going to come out. If his legs are going to be tired, we have to make sure that we're also keeping one of our best hitters in the lineup and going. So, as we said before, this is a unique situation, and making sure that he's in a good place and we're just taking it, small bites along the way as far as what comes next is incredibly important.
Is it still a world where you kind of want to envision him stretching out to make full starts eventually down the line as he kind of builds on each self? Or is there a certain point that you want to make sure you don't redline him before October and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's just seeing how each outing goes, and whatever that looks like. The main goal is obviously to have him strong down the stretch run and through October. So we won't know that from here to there, but I do know at each step we'll have those discussions and make sure that that is the guiding lights to make sure that he's feeling as good as possible come October.
Is this a once a week thing, or because the stints are going to be shorter, will he pitch more often at the front end?
Yeah, that's really, we need to see how it comes, and it is the beauty of these are just 3 innings, right? So it doesn't come at the cost of anything. So he'll pitch tonight, let's have a conversation, see how he feels, what makes sense moving forward, and just do that over and over again, and making sure that everything is set up for that we're not taking on any additional risk.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of difficulties coming off the second Tommy John. What are the things you guys saw from him out of your lives that kind of give you the confidence about where he's just going to be performance-wise going from here?
yeah, the stuff was really impressive. The movement and command combination and kind of the interplay of his pitches were felt like, hey, this is what he was doing in bullpens early on. Like, you could just put that into the game and you would feel good about it. Obviously, the intensity and everything's going to be different once you actually step between the lines. But it's been really encouraging overall, the way he's bounced back and been able to continue to feel good doing both. I think all points to him feeling good and going out there and being ready to perform.
How does going through this process with him kind of giving you more appreciation for what he does as both a hitter and a pitcher?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think watching it from afar, and then last year really only just thinking about what would come. Seeing him, it really hit me in Arizona. He hits the home run, we win that night, and then the next day he's throwing like an up-down bullpen. I'm like, this is impossible, right? And it's electric stuff, and he's he's talking about the movement of his pitches. So it's really, it's exciting from a baseball perspective, and we're all fans as well, right? So just to watch our incredibly talented group on a nightly basis is really fun.
How concerned are you that he could hurt himself pitching and then you lose your best hitter?
I mean, I think that's true of anybody who's going out and stepping on the mound, but I think he's gone through this whole rehab process, and he feels good, and this is the next step in the progression. We signed him to be a two-way player. He's very much of the mindset that he wants to do that for a very long time, so we feel like we're ready to take that step and, go out and time to do it.
I think it goes without saying, but how can you lose all this? And are there any hazards that maybe could pop up just going through a rehab, basically rehab in a big league setting, as opposed to maybe obviously more controlled settings like he's had in the past?
Yeah, it's obviously those conversations have been had, and it's to the point where, hey, going out and getting ready at 4 hours, 5 hours before the game is too taxing, and therefore feel like the next step, as far as like health perspective too, is to finish off this basically rehab process in the major leagues.
Was the decision made with him, or was he told? And
no, everything that along the way with Shohei has been a joint effort, and because he is one of one, you have to hear the feedback, and we don't do that with any of our players. There's always the conversation, and especially this unique situation.
how was he like when he heard that he was going to actually pitch in pain?
Yeah, very excited. Yeah,
When was that call made, like the final decision to move that day?
pretty few days ago. We were talking through it and then really finalized it over the last 24, 48 hours.
Who came up with the idea of using him as an opener?
Well, I mean, he's just starting the game, right?
That's an opener.
Yeah,
But he's still starting the game.
Brandon, he's essentially an everyday player. How is this going to change that? How much will you sacrifice him being able to play every day by pitching?
I mean, I think the thought right now is that things will carry on as they have, and this will add another layer to the workload, and like we do with all our guys, trying to understand how they're feeling, and then if there is a day that he needs, we'll give it to him, and I know that'll be an ongoing conversation between he and Doc, and if he says he feels good, then we'll keep going with him as we have.
Benny, did you notice an urgency from him to get back quicker as you guys were dealing with all these pitching injuries?
I mean, I think as a competitor, I'm sure there was, but we, with the conversations, like, hey, let's make sure we're maintaining big picture view, not only this year, but for the longevity of his pitching career as well. So as much as we feel that sometimes, and I know he's been, champing at the bit to get out there, I think that conversation was making sure, like, let's do this in a smart way.
Last one, guys.
On a different note, is there any more clarity on what's going on with Roki and him being shut down, and what's the plan going forward with him?
Yeah, he threw some fly balls today, so arms moving and feeling good coming out of that. So now it's continuing to build a foundation and make sure we get him to a point where he's feeling good throwing, and then go from there. And what that looks like, it's still very early in the process, But felt good coming out of today, which was a positive, so we'll hopefully keep building off of that.
Thanks, Brandon.